What's up, fellas?
Hello.
You ready?
Yes, let's go.
It's another good one.
It's a good one. It's a great one.
Nothing themed this week. By the way, welcome to Whatchu Spinnin episode 60. My name's Dorian, as per usual. I'm your host, joined by my other hosts. We got Jake over on the corner there. I thought we fixed that.
Host with the most.
The hostess with the most.
Hold on. There we go. Now we can see him. So, we're here in the snake pit once again. Thanks for having us over, my friend. We are here for episode 60 of Whatchu Spinnin. We didn't do a theme this time because if you remember in the last couple episodes, we've referenced that we're doing a hip-hop bracketology after this. 32 albums, old and new, going up against each other to figure out which one is our favorite. We've covered a shit ton of hip-hop on here. There's some albums that we have covered, some that we haven't. That's going to be exciting. How are you boys doing today?
Doing great.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and that's going to be fun talking about all those different albums.
For sure.
It's very unique.
Yeah, this week was really different.
Yeah.
All of our picks.
Very.
I like it though. I'm like getting more into metal. Like I've been hella into metal lately. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
We like that a lot. Other cool thing that happened since the last time we met, we kind of referenced this last episode. We're going to see Arm & Hammer on Monday. First stop on their tour, I believe, for the new album that came out on the 29th. We Buy Diabetic Test Strips. We want to take a moment, kind of go over what we thought of that. We're pretty big fans of them on this program.
Yeah.
We covered 2 projects by anybody involved, now that we think about it, Arm & Hammer specifically. We've done 2 projects, but they're in the realm.
Yeah.
What were some early takeaways? I know it hasn't been insanely long since it came out, but long enough.
Yeah, it just came out like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
I liked it. It was good. It was really good. They're still very much doing their like experimental and like kind of out of the ordinary hip hop. I feel like, especially for mainstream.
Right.
But they've always been doing that. Billy Woods and Elucid, that's just their style that they do. It's very abstract.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah.
I like it.
I heard the night it came out, I think it was that day or within that week, there was a Times piece, and the New York Times did an article on Arm & Hammer. And
oh shit!
In there, they were described as like art rap, which was a term I had never heard before. And then I was kind of listening to like Haram and Paraffin, and I was like, I kind of see it. And then this album came out, and I was like, no, that's it. Yeah, it's 100% art, because it is, from a lyrical standpoint and everything. And that album, I was like, oh, okay, I'm completely familiar with what this term is now. So
that's cool. I didn't know that they did like an article on it.
Yeah, it's decent. It's like maybe a 7-minute read. Very, very good though. Talks about, it's like they sat down with him and did an interview.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and they're like talking about the perspective that this album came from. I liked it. I think we were all kind of in the consensus because they dropped like 4 singles. I remember every time one would drop, we'd be like, I'm not too sure. It literally took the album coming out for me to just come around on all of those songs. I was like, it's top to bottom, in my opinion, it's fantastic. From Landlines, probably being one of the strongest songs on the album, just love that. There's like some really neat like double vocal harmonization from them on that song in particular. It's just great. I'm a big fan.
They brought out really good also producers and features on it.
Yeah, Kenny Siegel makes an appeance with Billy again.
JPEG Mafia, also producing
a couple of tracks for JPEG. Yeah, I think it's it's good that we're into it enough already. We're like, okay, like 2-3 weeks was like perfect amount of time to be able to familiarize yourself with it, because they're gonna play stuff off of it. So it'll be
I feel like it for sure.
Yeah, but it won't be like, oh, this is overplayed enough yet. So hell yeah.
They always bring up also like people in their label. Like Pink Sifu, he's with Blackwoods, and then also I didn't see Kayana, sadly.
Yeah.
Because she was on Haram, because she signed with them, Backwoods, like their record label or whatever.
Oh, okay.
She signed with them, but she wasn't on this album. But
Weird.
I liked it. It was fucking solid. And I'm excited for that show, dude.
I'm very anxious to see what it is in live production.
Yeah.
See how they do it, because that album is very artsy and very abstract, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really a hip hop record. I'll tell people, hey, you should listen to this hip hop album, and they're like,
what do you mean?
They don't really respond because they don't understand that it's it's different. It's not your typical hip hop, but I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Top to bottom, all the songs are different, unique, using like different video game sample sounds and like just the lyrics in general, like you were saying, are just either offbeat or just like I don't know, just real words.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about stupid shit, just being real.
Yeah, and the sampling also with like the watery sound on when it doesn't start with a kiss, which is probably in my top 3 already, but it's got that cool beat switch in it. It's going to be interesting to see how they play any of their songs live, but let alone like create a set list, off of their stuff, because it is all very abstract and out there. So I wonder what it's going to look like, what songs they play.
I wonder if they're going to bring back like songs from other albums.
Oh,
I hope
Shrines
so.
Or Paraffin.
At least from Haram, at least.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. If we get anything from Haram,
Man, got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
If they end,
maybe they could open it that way, and then they'd be like,
Psych.
perfect ending to it would be if they play Stone Fruit.
Yes.
That'd be perfect ending to it.
Came in on a cyclone.
I really.
I wonder if Billy Woods will have a mask on or like some sort of cover for his face, or if he just performs. Because I think the performances I've seen live, it's just blurred out, but he can still. Whoever's in front of him can see his face. So.
Yeah. It'll be cool. I'm very excited, very interested.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on that before we move into the content?
Yeah, it's another fun adventure. It's our
second show together.
And it'll be cool to experience that with a different type of music and taking a little drive to go see it.
Oh yeah. Little adventure. I'll be shooting some stuff. Might have whoever's not driving film some conversation. We might do a little a special kind of thing. Out what's it called? Not man on the street. Man on the streets. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. But no, it'll be sick. We'll have a little special stuff coming out for that, and then the week after that, you and I get to go see Tool, which will be my first time seeing them. Yeah. How many times have you seen Tool?
Just once when they were back when they were here a couple years, or probably like maybe a decade ago. We've been back a couple times, but it's been a while. So.
Hell yeah. And we'll cover that too. But let's dive in. So, we're going to go in order that we discussed earlier, kind of some rough form. Everything is different this week, so it's pretty sick. But go ahead and kick us off. Matt, what you got?
I went for a metal pick for my band called Gojira, which is Japanese for Godzilla, I believe. Album's called Magma from 2016. I stumbled upon them kind of accidentally through just, maybe on Pandora or some sort of streaming service. And I was like, there's a couple cool songs. And this album's a little bit more accessible for people that aren't into really heavy metal, because their other releases are very like guttural and a little bit more aggressive. And I think this album, while it has that, is also like melodic and like soft and has influences of Sabbath and even soft kind of Pink Floyd guitar licks in there sometimes towards the end of the album, especially one of the Liberation is the last song, and it's just quiet and kind of acoustic, and that was just kind of different. And this album was a dedication to their mom, who passed away, I think either in the beginning of them recording this album or towards the end, so they dedicated it to her. The song Shooting Star, you can kind of hear that in the lyrics. Send Me a Sign from the Afterlife. I think that's in there at some point. But what do you guys think?
This was the first time I had heard this album in particular. I remember hearing when it came out. I think I was familiar with Gojira through the Tool subreddit, actually, because someone was like, and then there's also another one that's like sounds like Tool, and Gojira frequently comes up in those conversations. And I had listened to their first album, The Link or something, and then their most popular one, which is like L'Enfant Sauvage, or however you say that.
I wasn't going to pronounce it. I was going to wait for you to bring it up.
Hey,
Thank you, because you are the king of pronouncing these funky words.
Yeah, dude. I was just about to say, who's never afraid to mispronounce something, look like an ass on camera?
You just freeball it, and you're like somewhat correct. You're like
but it's like I say it with confidence to try and like sell it. I'm like, fuck it, it'll pass.
That's the word. Yep.
So and it's very correct. You know, this is it's the same kind of music from like an instrumentation standpoint for the most part, but it is much calmer vocals, a little bit more out there and abstract, and so I really liked it in comparison. You know, I was like, this holds up with the rest of their work.
Definitely.
And holds up as even amongst like other big prog metal acts like Tool and you know, stuff like that. So I'm a big fan. I loved this album.
Nice.
Oh yeah, it was really good. I saw that I was reading up on it. It had like a couple nominations, I think.
Yeah, 2 Grammys.
Yeah, had some nominations. It was good. Yeah, it was my first introduction to Gojira. I went and listened to some of their older stuff to compare it. And yeah, I heard some songs from Mars to Sirius.
That's an incredible album.
That one's really good.
I saw that at Moonrock for like $60.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh damn! At Moonrock too.
Like what?
They usually have their prices. Damn.
That's probably an original.
But yeah, I mean, it's listening to that and then to this. I could see that like their earlier stuff. It was more like guttural.
Yeah.
So listening to this, like you said, it is like very much you can get into it. It's more accessible. But with that being said, I think they still keep that same style, like that same energy.
Yeah.
And really good, like from the jump, like the first song that comes up on the album, it's like it gives you that energy already, you know. Like, that they're like playing super hard and it's super badass.
That bass line on the Shooting Star, that first track, is just wobbles.
It's crazy.
Right, and you kind of brought it up with Liberation, that song at the end, to have the album start off with that aggressive tone and the Shooting Star, and then finish out with just the brothers on an acoustic guitar and fucking hand drums just jamming at the end. That's a very interesting way to do the album, because it is very in your face the whole time. The only break that you get is Yellowstone with that fucking weird Sabbathy kind of droning riff for a minute and a half, and then the rest of it's just
right.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah, that's cool. The other brothers, the drummer and the lead singer. Guitarist, Joe and Mario. Mario's a great drummer too. That guy bangs.
Yeah,
he's good.
Wait, what band was he also in?
The brothers, the lead singer
brothers?
and the drummer are brothers. Lead singer and guitarist.
That's cool.
But Mario's an incredible live drummer. I've seen some video of him, and he just goes at it with a double kick drum and just
on Silvera, the cymbal work that he's doing on that, when he's like doing these breakdowns and it's like just like going these little fills. He does these sick ass little cymbal fills, and I heard it and I was like, what the hell? And there's multiple spots like that on this album. For, you know, I feel both brothers was who I was noticing the most. The cymbal work on Silvera was very nice, and then on Only Pain, there's this, in the beginning, the guitar is like doing this weird squeal thing, and it's like sounds like a wah pedal. It's just so impressive.
Screwdriver sound or something.
Yeah, Jackal. Fuck yeah.
But it is more like you were saying, it's accessible. You can kind of find a groove in it, or if you like that guttural feel, it's in there too. And it opens up with that track, like you said, just bangs, bangs, bangs. I like it for that reason, and it, I don't know, it's a good one to work out to, good one to just chill with, you know.
It's also, I think, a good introduction to metal.
Yeah.
Like if someone hadn't heard of metal and they heard this, like it's accessible, you can like it. Like almost anything about it, either it be, you know, the intensity, or at the end where they're kind of a little bit more calmer, like you can like something about this album. And even their other stuff, like I said, like listening to it, it was also really good, so I'm gonna keep like digging into.
Yeah, their other stuff is good.
Yeah, very, very worth looking into. I feel like they're, because it is different. Even stuff outside of this album, Gojira is a very interesting band in my opinion, because they do get lumped into the likes of Tool and everything, because they're like, oh, this is aggressive but very complex music, but then they're also, you know, we're just gonna keep saying it. Fucking, it's accessible. Like it sounds. His vocal style is reminiscent of like a lot of guys that you hear on the radio, so I think that's why this album in particular is more accessible, but their whole catalog is kind of it's worth it, but also interesting to look at, especially with this kind of in the middle of it at this point.
They fit the tone so well too for a name like Gojira.
Yeah.
Like, and for it being this album and it's them, like they show that intensity, that like that badass. Because
stomps you, man.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. Yeah. It's really good.
I agree. You should watch their live performances. Some of the videos on YouTube are pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah, they just fucking go at it. They play so well together.
Yeah. They played, like, they toured for some, like, pretty big, like, heavier acts.
I'm sure.
Like, I was reading on it, and it was just like, what? Like, they toured with them? Like, I can't remember the bands off the top of my head. It was early as fuck this morning, but I was like, damn. Like, so-and-so they supported on tour? Like, that's wild.
That, too. I noticed that the record label, they have, like, Coheed and Cambria.
Roadrunner Records,
Yeah, Roadrunner Records. They have a bunch. Then they've had a lot of really big metal artists.
Slipknot.
Yeah.
Was like their biggest act for a while.
Depeche Mode too. Depeche Mode was one signed with them.
Nice. Fun fact: Roadrunner Records, Typo Negative, also signed too. And
funny.
Actually, we'll save the rest of that for when we talk about it.
Just
wanted to make the connection a little early. But yeah, Roadrunner Records too. It's like you hear they're like the big one for metal, artists.
Yeah.
So. But this album also fits that mold entirely. You're like, oh yeah, of course they're signed to Roadrunner. Like this is exactly up their tree. So I'm glad you brought this up. I hadn't listened to a full Gojira project in probably a fucking decade, for being honest. Yeah. I was like, it's been a while, like cover to cover like this. So I'm stoked that you brought this up. Here, let me just move both of us all the way back.
Scoot over, man. No, I'm glad you liked it, man. It was one of my. I haven't brought up very many metal picks, but I felt this one's a very easy one to hear. And
when I remember when you brought it up, I looked it up. First thing I saw was the cover.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
There's like a mountain that's just like smoking. And
Yeah.
There's like a little face on it.
yeah.
I think they were saying that represents some of the emotions they were all going through, or maybe just the brothers were after the mom died, like feeling like a volcano ready to erupt.
Yeah.
Magma coming out or whatever.
Yeah. I remember, that was, it's like all a metaphor, the title and the album cover and everything. I was reading that too this morning, which is, we love an album with a backstory.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool. Well, good. Dive into top 3?
Shall we?
Let's do it.
All right, kick us off, baby boy.
Started off with my honorable mention being The Shooting Star, because it starts the album off with just a bang, and that bass line is thunderous. And then 3, 2, 1, 3 would be Yellowstone. 2, Magma, and then my top track, which I played for you guys earlier, would be Lowlands.
Nice.
Honorable mention, I'm gonna go Pray. Really like that, and then also really like that last song, Liberation. I love that they can show that like they're more than just playing the guitar super hard or screaming into a mic. Like they can actually they're good musicians.
Right.
So that one's really good. Top 3, Magma, Only Pain, and then also Lowlands.
Nice.
Hell yeah. For me, honorable mentions, Pray. That one was tough. Almost made the top 3 this morning. Lowlands is my second honorable mention. Kind of consensus across the board that we like that track. Number 3 for me was Magma. Love that song. Number 2, Silvera, because of that, just because that drum work on it is fantastic. And then number 1, Only Pain. Already mentioned the guitar part, but as a whole, really dug that song as well.
Nice.
Good stuff, Matt.
Sweet.
Way to bring up a good album as per usual. Gold star for you. Bring this home to your parents.
There'll be more metal picks.
You can give them a gold sticker.
Yeah, exactly. It's the sheriff when you go to like the Lane County Fair and get the sheriff badge sticker. Just give me those. No, fantastic pick. Love getting to either revisit something or get a further appreciation for something that I had barely broke the surface on, kind of like with this. But that was Matt's pick for this week, Magma by Gojira, released in 2016. We'll be right back to discuss Jake's pick for this week, which I'm also stoked as hell to talk about. It's Whatchu Spinnin' episode 60, baby. Do you guys ever go in a specific order when you do your notes? Like, do you guys sit down and crush all 3 albums in one sitting?
No. Sometimes if I forget to do it during the week, I'll do that. But usually I'll space it out.
Yeah, let's talk methods for note taking.
Do you guys do it within the week? Like as you listen to it throughout the week?
No.
Or just all in one day?
No. Let's just go down. Jacob, what's your method for taking notes?
So really, my first week I'm listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
My second week I'm really listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just listening to a full album. Like maybe on a day, like on my to and from work or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I'm taking notes, I'll take notes like Friday afternoon, and then like today in the morning.
Gotcha.
That's how I do it. But I've listened to it more than I take notes, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I don't touch or write anything down until like maybe the day before or the day of.
Yeah.
Because I listen to it like, so that's all I do at work.
Yeah.
I don't listen to podcasts or watch anything. I'm always listening to music. So when I know the albums that we're picking, I'll listen to them like multiple times just to kind of get the feel for them, and then leave them alone, and then I'll come back to them the next week.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, and trying to pick my top 3s. Kind of start thinking about what I want to find out about them. But I usually wait until the night of or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same with note taking. I listen to. Like in the first week that we have, I do once per day. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll do one album to and from work. The next day, and then I'll kind of chill with them. And if there's anything I liked from the drive-in, I'll like listen to like maybe 1 or 2 during that time, and then I kind of chill on them as you do, and then the next day. I'm doing like your guys' once every other day, like back to back, listening to like Jake's this one and then Matt's right after, or vice versa. And then I'll listen to mine like sporadically, because by the time we're at that point, I'm like, oh, I've listened to mine a bunch leading up to it. Yeah. Because that's kind of how I figure out what I'm going to bring up on the podcast is like, this is very behind the scenes. I'm glad I'm recording it though. Is I'll start thinking of like, oh, who haven't I listened to in a while, or like what's a band that I really like that I'd want to talk about, what's one of my favorite albums, and so I'll start doing that in the background of me listening to the other picks, and so by the time it's the next week, I'm like, oh, I just listened to my pick for this episode for like 2.5 weeks straight, so I'm basically familiar with it, and then Saturday I sit down, listen to all 3, and just that's when I do notes. Is Saturday, like literally from the time I take notes to the time I get here, the ink has been dry maybe an hour.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Well, that's a little inside baseball. I was curious. I meant to ask that earlier at the beginning of the show, but thanks for listening to that. It's kind of interesting to hear how y'all take notes, because I feel like mine's
picking my brain.
Yeah, because I do like a grid formation. I look at you guys and it's just like free form. I'm like, no, I do like a table of contents over here.
Section A.
I have like my top 3 and then my little section for notes.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I like that. Hell yeah. But
I free ball it. No notes.
Yeah, today especially.
Today.
Psychopath.
Yeah.
Mr. Know-It-All over here.
They call me Mr. Know-It-All.
Yes.
I was jamming.
I've still been trying to look for that.
I was jamming some Primus on the way over here, actually. But let's fucking give the people what they want. So Jacob, what you got for this week, my man?
Songs of Hers. There it is. Came out in 2017. It's like just a compilation of singles that they had done at the time. It's 2 musicians from Liverpool, a guitarist and a bassist, and then they'll have like a drum machine in the background, and it's like an indie band.
Damn.
But I've really liked all their music. There's a lot to talk about with them for sure. Kind of darker, sadder like thing ended up happening with them. But besides that, like their work was really good, and a lot of people are still listening to them and discovering them. So, but yeah, what did you guys think about it?
Yeah, man. This is like it's the fuck. How do I even begin, man? I'm obsessed with this album. I loved it. Every time I listened to it, I liked something different about it, whether it was like a specific bass line or the drum programming. And I think the reason I loved it so much is because it's such a weird like genre of indie. You know, it got compared, this album in particular got compared to like Mac DeMarco, which is kind of true, but the thing that really draws me in, which I think is probably what pushes people away from music like this, is the singer, is the vocalist. I really like his voice combined with everything, and the bass player is fantastic as well. And even him as a backing vocalist is really good. But it's just for some reason that like monotone, almost bored kind of sounding vocal throughout the whole album is really what draws me into it. He just sounds like, meh, whatever, and I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Fuck the man.
But they make the instruments work so well together. And I think they capture that indie lo-fi sound to it, like to perfection on this album because of all the way it flows. Felt like I've heard songs on this album before, whether it's in like a show or maybe a movie, or not a movie, but like I've heard songs before from this album. And they're all very catchy, and I liked his voice.
Me too.
It drew me in too. I think it works well with the guitar and the bass and all the other instruments going along there, and just a unique pick, and a sad story behind it, you know, with what happened to him and not having a lot of other releases, but yeah, very creative too.
Yeah.
And simple. It's not like complicated music. It's very like, you know, here's the melody and here's, you know, some words.
Yeah. Unless you want to talk about Cool With You, because that's an indie song with a fucking beat switch in it. And I'm over here like, what the hell?
Right.
The first time I heard that, I was like, all right, this is, like, once I heard, Cool With You is the second track on the album, for those that don't know. And so by the time I heard that, like, beat switch halfway through, I was like, oh, cool, next song. Wait, what? Like, I was like, oh, this album's going to be a fucking banger. Like, just, that was, like, very interesting songwriting, and to put it at the beginning of the album is just fucking shout out to
it. It just, like, melts into each other, the same track.
Yeah.
Because they, like, just switch it, too.
I like the instrumentals, too, you know, that are on here. They're very short and sweet.
Yeah. Just, and the way it's mixed, too, like, the bass has, like, some filter on it that makes it sound, like, extra pop, like it's got a little bit of extra zhuzh to that bass line throughout, so it's just like doom doom doom, like just and he plays like one of the coolest basses of all time, Rickenbacker, by the way. Shout out my bass heads out there.
It's cool. Like they have like YouTube videos of like performances that they do, or like little like shows that they'd have, and they're jamming, dude. Both of them, the bass player especially, he's jamming, dude. He's like, you know, he's into it. It's cool looking at them and like the passion they had for their music. Like they were really into it, and you could tell that, you know, like even their other album that came out, I think a year after this or two. It's still also really good. They had a lot of talent, you know, like they definitely, I think, deserved the spotlight that was going to them. Kind of a background story. They were on tour in the U.S.
Arizona,
in Arizona, going to California, and they were in a car accident, and both them and the manager passed away. So very like dark, very you know, sad, tragic, very tragic. But I think the footprint that they left behind, in indie especially, I think still gets recognized to this day. Like if you look at like the comment section or on like Reddit posts or whatever all over, they'll like at some point get a mention. I feel like I've seen more recently, especially because I found these guys out like in 2019, 2020, and they didn't have this many listeners. And
I found them before they were super popular.
I actually went to their show. But yeah, I like that they're still getting recognition. Yeah,
for sure. So what were you saying earlier about the record that you have of this in particular? What were you saying about this?
Yeah, that too. This was the first record I bought on Discogs.
Shout out. Shout out Discogs.
And if you like scroll way like past my like collection, it's like that first one.
Fuck yeah.
Because I heard it and I was like, dude, I have to have this. Like, I need this. Like, whatever it costs. Like, I just need it in my life.
Yeah.
And I feel like it helped me a lot because another side story.
Yeah.
I'm ranting.
No, go ahead.
No.
Please. This is your album, dude. You have the floor.
But like in late 2019, I had a car accident in my Golf.
Oh shit.
And I was pissed off with myself because like when it happened, I was like, God damn it! Like I'm such an idiot. Like look at my car. Look at all this. I have to pay all this, and I wasn't, I guess, taking the message that it could have been a lot worse.
Right.
And then when I found out about these guys, I was super into their music, and I was like, hey, let me see if they have shows.
Yeah.
And that's when I found out
Damn.
that it happened. So I was like, fuck. And it made me kind of like double guess myself and like think more about it, because
put stuff into perspective for you.
Because it can always, you know, like sometimes, you know, stuff doesn't work out, and it could have been a lot worse, you know. So it kind of made me appreciate in a way that it could have been a whole lot, you know, a whole lot worse than what it actually was. So this, I feel like it, in that sense, it helped me a lot because it made me come to terms about all stuff in reality that sometimes just unexpected shit happens.
Yeah, you just got to roll with the tide of it, the ebbs and flows. That's fucking timing's a motherfucker, ain't it?
Very much so,
yeah. That's wow. That's crazy. The fucking connection on that you know, right when you found out they were in a car accident, you had just been in one and stuff like that.
It resonated with me a lot.
Yeah.
A lot, especially because at the time also like just a lot of stuff was happening in my life.
Right.
And like I'd have friends that would like ask me about it and like about my car specifically, and I was like, yeah, my car, you know, it's whatever, but like you know, there's always someone attached to that, like it's something more, it's not just that. Right. But this album definitely helped me out, I feel like, and I feel like a lot more people too, the more that they discover them, they can kind of get some sort of attachment to it. Especially because they were so young, like it's tragic.
Very much so.
It has that feel to it. You know that it's a sad album, but like the melodies are very melancholy, and I don't know. It fits the vibe, and not to say that it was like a premonition, but I don't know. Everybody leaves their mark in a different way, and it's kind of got that darker kind of feel to it, but also has some happier parts. And just a well-rounded album for sure.
It is for sure, and it does kind of have and I think the tone of the instrumentation and everything does kind of loan to that kind of melancholy kind of feel and all of that. But it does, you know, even on some of it, you're like, oh, this is kind of makes me feel good. Like you don't know that guy.
The way that Dorothy, the way it starts off,
Yeah. So I think it's top to bottom fantastic. Well worth the purchase on Discogs. I'm gonna have to find it
no
myself.
doubt.
Yeah, I think there's still copies on Spotify. They're like $20.
Yeah.
So
okay.
And speaking of, they actually still have pictures of the bassist modeling their merch as the Spotify like merch pictures at the bottom. If you go down to the bottom of this album on there, they have pictures of the bassist like modeling a black T-shirt or something. It's pretty cool.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I was like, damn, that's really fucking sweet. So, shout out to him. Shout out hers.
Yeah.
Shout out Jake for bringing this album out.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys liked it. Definitely, we don't talk about a lot of indie.
No.
And I have a lot more picks that I want to bring up.
Same here, yeah.
Me too. I
feel like we're all sitting here on like these weird phases. Matt and I are about to get hella aggressive and try and see who can get more aggressive.
You're gonna win that battle.
Probably win. Which simultaneously is a contest to see who we can get Jake, if we can walk Jake off of a podcast for talking about an album. No, I'm kidding.
Just skip a week. Yeah.
I can't listen to this.
I need a sub, dude.
Yeah. Sub. Would you just find some random like goth kid just comes in?
Yeah.
So, you guys want to talk about Oceano? Fucking.
My name's Thrash.
People call me Stain. Some fucking scab. Hell yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. Top threes?
Sure. Kick us off, buddy.
So, honorable mention, I'll Try.
Yep.
I was listening to that song a whole lot more this time around. Really liked it, especially because it ends like that. I think
Yeah.
it's good. Top 3, Dorothy.
Metal.
Love how that intros the album. Cool With You, that like switch, the beat switch if you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then What Once Was. Listening to that, man, it's kind of like eerie at some point.
What Once Was, especially.
Yeah.
That What
Yeah,
Once
for
Was
sure.
was really what made me fucking yo.
Yeah.
What's that?
You go.
Me?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Honorable mention for me was Cop Theme. I like the instrumental. That was cool. Then Speed Racer, Medieval, and the title track, Dorothy. Just set the tone for that whole album. I was like, all right, I know I'm gonna like this. This is an indie album right away.
Mhm.
You know it, and it has that good feel all the way through.
Very, very much so. Honorable mentions Cop Theme as well. Love a good bass thing going on there. Other one was Marcel. Great
Nice.
song, comes
Good
right
one,
before it
nice.
on the album. Number 3 for me was What Once Was. Number 2, Medieval. And number 1 was Cool With You. Can't get over that transition, beat switch, drop, fucking skiddly bump, whatever the hell you want to call it. It kicks ass. So that's mine. And that was Jake's pick for this week. Songs of Hers by Hers, released in 2015, correct?
17.
2017. God damn it. All right.
Nerd.
Well, we'll be right back to wrap this bad baby up and talk about my pick for this week. It's Whatchu Spinnin', episode 60.
Dorothy, you get it? It's Dorothy.
Okay, baby boys and baby girls, it's time to go ahead and wrap this bad boy up by talking about my pick for this week before we introduce what's coming for the first round of the hip hop bracket. And that album that we got to talk about is Typo Negative's Bloody Kisses, released in 1994. Also, same as I kind of drove by mentioned earlier, was also released on Roadrunner Records, same as Magma by Gojira from earlier in the ep, and was the first Roadrunner Records album to be certified gold by the RIAA, and then later went on to be certified platinum. So shout out Typo Negative.
Why are you throwing things at me?
I almost pegged myself in the.
I'm just trying to find something for my notes.
I
Sorry.
almost fucking
Stuck
stabbed myself in the eye,
I'm not
dog.
on my phone.
So yeah, Typo Negative, Bloody Kisses, 1994, Roadrunner Records, Peter Steele, hell of a vocalist, hell of a bassist, interesting album top to bottom, one of my favorites obviously, perfect to put out in October, or to talk about at the beginning of October, but what do y'all think?
Had you heard this album before?
No.
No.
Any song on it? Okay. So what was
No.
your take from it?
I liked it. It at some points it felt kind of preachy. I think that's just like Christian woman. Starts off with Machine Screw. Yes, fuck yes. No, but it was good. I liked it. Definitely, it has that goth feel. That goth feeling, and also a lot of their songs too. They're very long, which I like. I dig that.
Yeah.
I like longer songs where they kind of have sections and periods where they're different.
Yeah.
Like in Christian Woman and it's like 10 minutes. Bloody Kisses.
Bloody Kisses, or
And then is it Black Number One? I think.
yeah, Black Number One's like 11.
Like really long songs. I like that too about them, but the instrumentation is good. The vocals are also really good. I like that it's not too crazy. It's not like over the top metal. That some songs they give more like I feel like I could listen to the vocals a lot cleaner than like the guitar or whatever. But yeah, up and down, like it was solid. It was good.
Yeah. I was wondering how you would receive this one.
Yeah,
It's a little out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, Matt.
It is a little preachy.
Yeah.
It is a little preachy, you know. Jesus Christ. Peter Steele just has a very preachy voice. I think no matter what song it is on this album specifically, he just has that. He's kind of preaching his his feelings to us, his emotions, his hatred, his love, his darkness. I think he does it really well on this album. And this is the first type of negative album I had heard. And I think I listened to it in high school because I was in high school in '94. And what a year to come out. You have Downward Spiral.
Yeah, Jesus.
Jar of Flies, Alice in Chains, Super Unknown, Soundgarden. All these albums come out.
In Utero too, wasn't it?
Probably. Yeah. But what a year to come out. Because this has like elements of all that kind of music, I feel like. It has the metal, it has the goth, it has some of the punk aspects with We Hate Everyone and Kill All the White People. Very like in your face, fast. And they all play their instruments really well, and Peter Steele is just a great frontman, a great bass player. Yeah. Some people didn't really care for his voice. I remember reading a lot about that when I was into him, but I love him. He's got that kind of Elvis vibe going a little bit, but also, like you said, preachy. Yeah. And I thought it was cool.
Yeah. I his voice, for me, he's one of my favorite vocalists. So, like, the fact that people didn't like it is beyond me, but... no, just that baritone, and then his like high range too is really impressive. Like reference the song "Bloody Kisses" once again when he's doing like the "Please Don't Go" at the end, and he's just like giving it his all. It's like, God damn, dude, that's particularly impressive to me to have that ability, but then to have like the the fucking across the pond, like the operatic like baritone feel is impressive. And then the keyboardist kicks ass, the drummer's great, the way they write their songs. We're going to mention this song 1,800 more times before we're done talking about the album, but the way that Christian Woman's written from like a musical standpoint, it goes places. We kind of talked, Jake, you kind of mentioned how the songs just go all over the place. Christian Woman in particular, or really all their songs, but that one is like the perfect example of it starting off in one place with like the synth sound, and then it gets aggressive, goes out, and then there's just incredible like just soundscape kind of feels to this album, which is what draws me into it, is because it's like it's a fucking hell of it's a project for sure.
Yeah, it's very well made too. Like the strong the structure to every song, and then also like their instrumentations, how some songs they kind of interlude to give you that little break. Yeah. Everything about it, I think it's pretty well made, especially for that year. Yeah. Now knowing that like Alice in Chains,
we almost did.
Soundgarden came out that same year. Like
remember when we did the 1995 episode? We were all talking about doing 94. It like came down, like 94 was like one. I remember I was like, we could do 94 too if we don't want to do 1995, and then we were all like, no, we'll do 95. But that is just an insane year for music.
Yeah, it's great because they had to, like be on that same par. With what was coming out that year. And, I don't know any really goth like bands, but this I feel like would be a forefront for the year, especially. For
it brought back that genre too back in that, because it was kind of not really there. Like maybe in the early '80s it was there, but like maybe bands like Christian Death and other bands that were goth kind of had that in the '90s. But these guys put it back on MTV, had the videos to prove it, and set a cult following for sure. And I think kind of redefined that genre in a sense, and showing that it could be more than just like depressing vocals. This album is way more than that. Musically, it's amazing. Conceptually, it's kind of unique. And all the things he talks about, and then you can feel his pain with what he's talking about. He's just he's a sad guy, but I think when some musician's able to do that in the studio and convey it to all of us, we can kind of like feel a release from it. At least I do.
Yeah, I do too. The way his voice is very like expressive. He gets his emotions across pretty well in a lot of those songs, and then I love the adventure that if you listen to this cover to cover, it'll take you on, with the opera stuff, and then the whoa 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 whoa, and it's just shit like that'll get stuck in your head. Like Matt and I, the whole past 2 weeks have just been walking by each other, just like cross, and that's it, just like 2 words, or I'll be like whoa 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 whoa, like just walking around. Boy, I found it. Yeah, the amount of times we've just quoted like 3 words off of this album the past 2 weeks is hilarious. And, you know, if we haven't talked about enough tragic shit lately, or this episode,
let's add to it. Yeah.
Let's add to it. Not directly related to this album, but to this band. Peter Steele unfortunately did pass away back in 2010 due to things that his alcoholism ended up lending to, unfortunately. But a little bit more about him. He was such a prominent figure in music at the time. Like, after this came out, this like put Typo on the map. Really like had them at the forefront. You know, like they were on MTV. Peter Steele was like 6'5", 6'6", just big motherfucker with that voice, and so he ended up posing for Playgirl at one point. I think it was full nude shoot for Playgirl.
Nice.
Hilarious. You know, and then with I don't know how to call them undertones, but this album's very, like, it has a lot of sexuality to this album, you know, with like the moaning samples in it, and then, you know, some of the imagery is very, you know, very erotic, and so to have him also pose for Playgirl in the aftermath of this is fucking hilarious. But yeah, shout out, rest in peace, Pete. Fucking
sad story, but
yeah,
gifted musician.
Yeah,
100%.
And then I'll stop ranting after that.
God, he rants.
I do. I found Typo Negative kind of the same way I found Fleetwood Mac. My dad was.
What? Rewind.
Way polar opposite. How?
let me tell the story then. This is fucking hilarious. So my dad used to do computer work, right? Like, he used to buy and sell computers and fix them, and so he gave me one that had like insane amount of storage on it and all of the music that he had ever downloaded ever. So we had like Fleetwood Mac and Typo Negative, and the first band I discovered from like my stepdad out of those two was Fleetwood Mac. And I remember looking at Fleetwood Mac in like Windows Media Player and being like, oh, that must be like an operating system for Apple Mac computers. I was fucking 10, okay, or like 11. I was like, I didn't know that it was like one of the best classic rock bands of all time.
It's a carrot.
And then I saw Typo Negative the whole time, like for years, and I was like, I don't know, like, that's just like a blood type. Like, who names their band after a blood type?
Why would you
That's
do that?
fucking weird. And I think I asked my dad about it or something, and he's like, yeah, like, listen to Christian Woman. And a couple other songs off of this, and then Life Is Killing Me as well, which I think was their last album. Or the one right after this, I can't remember. Anyways, and so I listened to Christian Woman, and I was like, oh, I'm sold. This album fucking rules. And that was like 12 years ago that I got into these guys. And when I played high school football, we had some guys that had just graduated, like, coaching us on the offensive line. And I had already listened to Typo Negative for like a couple of years, and they were huge fans as well, and so they'd wear shirts to practice, like Typo shirts.
Oh, right.
And I was like, yeah, I really like these guys, talking to my stepdad at one point, I think. I was like, yeah, I really like these guys, so-and-so and so-and-so, they've been coaching us, they're really helping us out. He's like, yeah, but they wear Typo Negative t-shirts, and that's like that's not music that you should listen to. And I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, well, they're fucking cool, okay? I think they're fucking cool for wearing those shirts, okay? Typo Negative fucking rules. I
They're
was
like hella roasting him. Like, don't hang out with them.
I was like, and just in the back of my mind, I'm like, fucking Peter Steele kicks ass. I don't know what you're talking about, dog.
That's funny.
So yeah, that was kind of like my introduction to him, and then, you know, a little piece about Pete. But yeah, boys, hell yeah. Should we go into top threes?
Yeah, great pick.
Thank you.
Jeez.
Quite an adventure. Perfect to start off, you know, the spooky season. I carved some pumpkins last week.
Nice.
Listened to this on the way out to the patch.
Hell yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
It is a good Halloween album.
Very. I mean, you want to go out because it's raining and blowing. You can't go out because your roots are showing, which brings me to my first honorable mention, Black Number 1, Little Miss Scarol. Second, like, true song on the album, just perfect. The chorus of that song, she dies in black, 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 number 1. Simple as that. Second honorable mention was We Hate Everyone. I sang that little vocal intro for y'all, so that's all you need to know. My top 3 changed. It got altered and then completely changed within me listening to this album this morning. Number 1 was Bloody Kisses. Number 2, Christian Woman. And number 3, Too Late, Frozen. Love that song. Too late for apologies.
Go ahead, Jake.
Honorable mention, I'm going to go Set Me on Fire. And then top 3, number 3, Christian Woman, Blood and Fire, and then Summer Breeze.
Nice.
Yeah, we did a good cover of that.
Yeah.
Honorable mention for me was Kill All the White People. It's just a fun song to, bounce around to. Number 3, Blood and Fire. 2, Christian Woman, and then We Hate Everyone was my top track, man.
Fuck
It's
yeah.
just got the good vibe all around.
Hell yeah. And real quick on Summer Breeze, Seals and Croft, the people who originally did that song, they contested the original Typo Negative version that had altered lyrics and was called Summer Girl. Seals and Croft found the lyrics distasteful and said, you cannot release that version, you have to do a true cover. So they did a Typo Negative-esque cover of Summer Breeze. That's the last little factoid for Typo Negative's Bloody Kisses, released in 1994, which was my pick for this fantastic episode 60 of Whatchu Spinnin. We'll be right back to introduce the first 16 albums in our 32 album hip hop bracket. It's Whatchu Spinnin, episode 60. Original picture, and I was like, I need to do the hip hop black bars.
That was a rad picture. It was so good.
I was like, it's hard, dude.
I was like, fuck, man, it's a good shot.
The hardest mixtape.
Okay.
To the hip, to the hop, to the hippity hop. Hip hop, you don't stop.
Should we do it to where we have the person like announce their pick in it? Jacob, do you have the bracket pulled up, or do you just want me to rip through it?
We could do I guess one person can do each like a little 4
Okay. Cool.
or a little what's it called?
I'll do it. We'll each do 4, and then I'll do the bottom 4.
The 6, not 16.
Yeah. So, welcome. It's time to talk hip hop.
Yeah, I'm turning my head around because we're talking about lips.
There is an episode, Matt, where you wear your hat sideways the whole time. It's one of my favorite Matt episodes.
That's when I was drinking a lot of Patron.
No, yeah. But
I don't do that anymore.
Shout out to him. But no, I was like, I went back. Sometimes I'll go back and like look at old episodes if I want to like hear what we said about an album. And there was one in particular, and I was like, you were crushing it. Like you were fucking on it, but you were just like this the whole time with your Rockets hat, and you're just like, yeah, so anyway, fucking Pink Floyd or whatever we were talking about. And I was like, man, Matt is crushing, but what is his hat? And I was like, I don't even think he knows.
Does he not know what's going on?
I kept looking at your face, and I was like, does he realize his hat's like sideways like Kevin Federer or Kevin Federline?
Going for that leg.
It was so good. Okay, so it's we're gonna go ahead and go through the first 16 albums in our hip hop bracket that we've got coming to you 2 weeks from now in the next episode. And to start that off, I'll go. We're just gonna kind of bounce around, and we'll go down and list whose pick it was. So in the first matchup for the Whatchu Spinnin hip hop bracketology, we've got Jacob's pick, The Infamous, going up against Mad Villainy, my pick. That'll be
Heater.
That'll
Wow.
be unreal. That's a hell of a matchup to start it off with. And then Matt is playing a little pocket pool, fighting himself in this part of the bracket. 2 of his albums going up against each other. A.T. Aliens by Outkast, which we have covered on this podcast, going up against Beastie Boys' Paul's Boutique. Out of all the albums he picks Paul's Boutique, which is a Matt move, but a great album. I was like,
textbook Matt move.
It is. I was like, damn, Paul's Boutique, that's a deep cut. I love that album, so I'm stoked to see how that goes. I'm going to go ahead and kick it down to Matt for the next one.
Going up with Jake's pick was Illmatic. And the Low End Theory by Tribe.
No.
Oh, wait, no, 36 Chambers.
Yeah, Jake's playing pocket pool himself.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
That one's going to be good too, I feel like. 2 Titans.
Yeah.
That is a good pick.
2 really solid albums.
And then we got the Low End Theory going up against Miles.
Yes, by Blue in Exile.
Man,
That's going to be a good one, too.
that'll be tough.
That's early that's, tribe episode, and then that Miles was Jake's first pick, just like Mad Villainy was mine.
Yeah.
That'll be a good one.
This next one is going to be ridiculously hard.
Jake, what is the next one?
Ready to Die, Biggie, and then Blazing Arrow.
Yes.
Black Delicious, baby.
Yeah, that album is good. I've heard a song or two of their come on our like blend that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, dude, really good. And then also in that same little section, you have Graduation versus Fear of a Black Planet.
That's gonna be tough too.
Those are two defining albums in their own right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
That's gonna be.
That's crazy.
That's like generational kind of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, 100%.
And then to round out with the last two matchups here, we've got Matt going against Matt once again. The Chronic by Dr. Dre by Goody Mob's going up against Goody Mob's Soul Food. That's going to be a hell of a matchup as well. And then this one is kind of a modern matchup, a little more recency bias. It'll be a good one. Jake and I will have to duke it out, really argue for these albums. Pray for Haiti by Makami, which, shout out, that was Matt's first full episode with us.
Right.
Against my pick, Run the Jewels 2 by Run the Jewels, which was like 2 episodes later or something like that. Yeah, that was a garage episode for me. So yeah, some great matchups coming up.
Yes.
With that first week. The second part of it is just as crazy. Some more obscure matchups in that second half. But this one is crush. It's just crushed. We're going to really knock it out of the park with this, I think.
I really like, just to like kind of add, I really like also that we're bringing up a hip hop bracket. After this year, I think hip hop, I guess, turned 50 years old. 50 years of hip hop.
Hell yeah.
So it's cool to kind of visit from a whole lot of different eras, time zones, different styles of hip hop.
Yeah.
To kind of pick, like, I guess, our definitive, of hip hop per se. But there's definitely a lot of albums that we could bring up.
When we start running out of ideas, we'll pull another hip hop bracket out. I do think depending on how this goes, we might have to do a bracket for multiple genres. I've got
That's a great idea. Too.
I've got a lot of other ideas cooking for alternative content. Yeah, let me cook. But super stoked. I know you guys are just as excited as I am. That's gonna be so fun to that'll kind of get us through until the new year, just about.
And just glancing at the other side of the bracket, it's even more, like you guys are saying, eclectic, and it's even better. If you like this side, you're going to like the other side.
Yeah. But go ahead and catch us next time for the first round of 32 of the Whatchu Spinnin hip hop bracket, brought to you right here on Whatchu Spinnin on YouTube and Spotify. Follow us on Instagram at Whatchu Spinnin. Go ahead, fucking subscribe, follow us on Spotify, all that good stuff. Show your friends, and don't forget to stay hydrated. Be safe. Stay warm out there. It's getting a little nipply. It's been Whatchu Spinnin episode 60. I'm Dorian, joined by Matt, and joined by Jake. We'll catch you next time. Deuces, my gooses.
Peace.